Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 85 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And this is Brian, and it is our season finale, our Christmas extravaganza,
yes,
if you will. So yeah, we got it's funny. It's not that big of an episode though, as some of our other ones, I think. So sorry, Cody, but we still got some fun in here, and some good information, and a great movie we picked.
Yeah. It's just been a very hectic holiday for both Brian and I. It seems like we were just talking about it before we started recording. That it seems like between the hurricane and the weird early Thanksgiving, which I guess is not so weird because it happens every 7 years or whatever, but it just seemed early. And everything just kind of threw me off this year. So I'm still kind of scrambling. And I've had many packages delayed for some reason. I guess weather. So it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah. So we still have plenty, though, for you, though, in this episode.
Yeah, and Brian, I forgot to tell you, it has rained here every weekend. Literally every weekend in December, it has poured down rain. So, like, people can't get out and shop. They can't do yard work. They can't do anything. So it's been really tough. Yeah. So
What grudge is someone holding against poor North Carolina?
I don't know. We've had a record rainfall of over 100 inches this year. And
I saw that. They made an announcement. They were like, congratulations. They were like celebrating it like a milestone. And I'm like,
and the rain's not over. We're supposed to get some rain towards the end of the week still. So, yeah, it just seems like it'll never stop. It's really irritating.
Who did you piss off?
I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, we do have a really good show for you tonight. We've probably pointed this out before, but we will be taking a 3-week break to reset for season 3 coming up next year. I've got some pretty cool ideas, Brian, in terms of kind of behind the scenes stuff to improve the show and make things more efficient. So we'll be talking about those. Obviously, we got the contest, the iTunes contest, where you guys get your reviews in. We're going to draw for a prize pack in January sometime. So lots of fun stuff coming up in season 3.
Yes, and then we'll have a whole nother summer slaycation on the docket.
So I think we should be coming back January 18th will be our next new show after this one. So mark your calendar.
And don't forget, just a couple of months into season 3, we're going to have our 100th episode, which is going to be a big extravaganza. And we actually have a special, hopefully, if we can work this out, a nice surprise for that episode too.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, let's get right into our first chop. Okay, so first up is a film that I have not yet seen, unfortunately, Brian. I just did not have time this weekend to check it out. But this looks like a blast. I definitely want to see it before Christmas. All the Creatures Were Stirring by David, Ian, and Rebecca McKendry, husband and wife duo. Rebecca, you probably know from the Shockwaves horror podcast, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, and I was excited. She liked our tweet when I commented on it. And it was a really good horror anthology. And I really liked kind of the unique way they did the wraparound story, which also kind of tied in a little bit, which is kind of cool. So I definitely think, I know there's some people that I've seen some bad reviews on it. I can see kind of what some of the critical things they've said, but I happen to really enjoy it. And I know Tim, and I think he'll really enjoy it too. If you're a fan of anthologies, it's a really, really fun anthology. And I saw someone says, it moves slow, but I think there's 5 stories in it. So that's usually pretty, a lot of anthologies tend to have, it's, I guess, not counting like the original Creepshow and the Tales from Halloween, which had a number of stories. But most of them nowadays seem to have like 3, maybe 4. This one had 5, including the wraparound, which will be 6. I guess in addition, and the wraparound is 6. So it's a pretty quality and pack-filled anthology. So I really liked it, and I thought it was good, and it had some cool creepy images, and it had some good humor to it. It definitely was a really fun one for me. So I think you'll like that, Tim. So everyone should check it out. It's on Shudder right now. I think Shudder has the exclusive, and as you'll find out later, it will be released on disc shortly. But right now, if you're a Shudder subscriber, which I hope you all are, there's no excuse not to watch this before the holidays.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely get on that one night this week. I will get to it, if not this coming weekend.
Yeah. It's only 80 minutes too, so you can easily fit that in.
Oh yeah, cool. All right. Next up, Russian sleep experiment urban legend. This is a creepypasta. I've actually read this one before. It's a very famous creepypasta. And there's a rumor, I guess, or maybe not a rumor, it's an announcement that it's getting its own horror movie starring Chris Kattan.
Yeah, I don't understand. And actually, it was funny, too, because Kim and Kat were talking about, had posted about this, too, about the fact that Chris Kattan was in it. And I completely missed that little element when I first read the article. So I went back, and I'm like, that indeed says Chris Kattan. So I don't know how Corky Romano fits into this whole thing.
But he always has been kind of creepy, though.
He has.
Remember
so I don't know what he plays.
Monkey guy thing on Saturday Night Live?
Was it Mongo or something?
Mongo, yeah, the little monkey with he chew the apples and stuff. He's always been really kind of weirdly creepy. So I could see him working in a horror movie for sure.
So what is he like? Is he going to be like the entire experiment?
Who knows? I don't know.
Well, so this one was I didn't really read this one, but I know a little of it. It's about where they I guess they locked 5 people in a room and they wouldn't let them out, but they kept promising they'd let them out and stuff, right, or something.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember it was basically an experiment to see how long people could stay awake and what the physiological effects were of keeping somebody up for that long. And it gets crazier and crazier as you read the story. So, I mean, I could see how you could turn it into a horror movie.
Yeah. Well, and on the other flip side about it, we actually did experiment of our own. We wanted to see how long we could get people to fall asleep. And the spoiler alert, it's 7 seconds into the first chop of Civil War podcast.
And 85 episodes.
Yeah.
So we talked about Us, the new movie from Jordan Peele coming out. Well, we're excited to announce there is a U.S. trailer. I read that wrong. And Us.
Well, it is a U.S. trailer. It's both.
An Us trailer in the U.S. on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Yes. That's just, he probably laughs at that because so many people are saying stuff like that, messing it up, saying U.S. or by mistake. But so that'll be fun. Little bonus present for all you horror fans. Get to see the trailer for this. So
yeah, and
that should be good.
We don't really have a whole lot of horror news this week, unfortunately, for our first chop. But I did want to give a shout out to my son, little Joshua, turned 7. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, it's Big Joshua.
Big Joshua now. Yeah, we had a.
Remember,
so this is great.
He's making deals at Universal in the hot tub with all his business associates.
So Brian, are you familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's?
I know it's like an app game, right? With the creature that comes alive, like a Chuck E. Cheese or something.
Right. So my son had a he's obsessed with it right now. He had a Five Nights at Freddy's themed birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, that's awesome.
So how great was that? So
that is awesome.
Yeah, he had like the Five Nights at Freddy's cake, the shirt, most of his presents were themed that, or as he calls it, FNAF, which is FNAF, which is the abbreviation. He just calls it FNAF because he's cool like that.
He is. I tell you, he's hip.
But it was funny because his little friend is also big into Five Nights at Freddy's, and when Chuck E. Cheese came out, like the actual mascot, he like screamed and was running from him, and Chuck E. Cheese was like trying to be wait a minute, I'm cool, I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah, that's funny.
So it was pretty funny.
Now was this Chuck E. Cheese you're at, was it one of those do you remember the old, I know the more modern versions of Chuck E. Cheese, I don't think they have this anymore, but I kind of remember the ones when they first opened up, they had that little Chucky Avenue thing where you could walk down a little fake street sometimes. It'd be the doors would open, the characters would pop out and stuff.
No.
I remember that. I don't know if they have
this
that.
One's really tiny. This one used to be a Showbiz pizza place. I don't know if you remember that brand.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so this used to be a Showbiz. When I was a kid, that's where we went. It was called Showbiz. And they turned it into a Chuck E. Cheese years later. And basically they just it's really weird because Showbiz had certain mascots. They had a gorilla that played the keyboard, and they had a mouse cheerleader. And when Chuck E. Cheese took over, they just retrofitted the animatronics. So they turned the mouse into a duck by adding a duck bill to her. And then they reclothed the gorilla and made him into this monster thing called Munch. So it's really weird because I remember it as a kid, and I remember the actual Showbiz characters. And then I walk in there, and it's they're just retrofitted Chuck E. Cheese characters. It's really strange. It's very creepy too because when the animatronics are off and they're not doing the show, they still move.
Oh my God!
I don't know why, but they just kind of sit up there and they blink their eyes and turn around and stuff. So man.
It really, maybe this is where Five Nights at Freddy was inspired.
Oh, I'm
from
sure it
this
was.
particular Chuck E. Cheese.
It might have been. It sure was. But we had a really good time. It was fun. And our buddy Chris from Columbus came down to see Kevin's play. So we had a we had a really, really great weekend. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. A little off the little side story with Chuck E. Cheese. Do you know, actually, I don't know if I even told you this. Do you know I worked at one point at a Bullwinkle's restaurant? Did you? I don't know if you had any of those. There was only a couple.
Those, no.
Yeah, so there's one in Santa Clara out in California. That's the one I worked at. And apparently, it was funny is eventually they had one on Long Island years later when I had moved back to New York, which then eventually changed to a Boomers. But it was the same style of Chuck E. Cheese, except it was Bullwinkle themed, obviously. And every time, instead of like Chuck E. Cheese characters, there would be full-on Bullwinkle animatronic shows going on, and like a band that would play music and everything.
Weird.
And it was pretty cool. Yeah, so it had an arcade, it served pizza. So yeah, so it's kind of funny. And I remember it was when that was a summer where it was in between my 11th grade and senior year, and my mom had that was when they moved out to California, so I went with them for the summer. And when I first saw Bullwinkle's, I said, "Oh, what a cool place!" And I went in there. And then when I realized I needed a summer job, I applied and got the job there. So it was kind of funny. So yeah, so I actually worked at a Bullwinkle's. That's a common fact. I say common, a rare known fact that a lot of people do not know.
Nice.
Now it's out there.
Now, did you ever have a restaurant called O'Brien's?
It sounds familiar, but it's also kind of generic enough that it could have been like a pub in the city I might have seen.
Well, yeah, we had this restaurant called O'Brien's. It's actually where Mellow Mushroom is now. But it was I don't know if it was more like they specialized in ribs. I remember it had really good ribs. But I think it was for like an Applebee's kind of. But the gimmick was all the waiters and waitresses dressed up in costumes.
Oh,
so
cool.
they had like a Marilyn Monroe, and they had a Cinderella or a Snow White, and just different kinds of weird, just like Halloween costumes. And
that's cool.
Gimmick was, you never who you were going to get waited on by, and they stayed in character. And then whenever they did like a birthday song, they would do like these kind of slightly risque birthday songs and stuff. So I don't know. I used to go there as a kid, and I just thought it was the weirdest place, but I loved it. So I was interested to see if anybody else had heard of it.
It sounds like that place in like Pulp Fiction. Remember?
Yeah, it was kind of had that vibe to it. But
did you get like a Steve Buscemi, Buddy Holly? Or?
No, but they didn't have $5 milkshakes either.
Ah.
Which nowadays $5 milkshake doesn't seem that outrageous.
It's considering like those ones at like Universal that are like $35 and like you can't even find the glass with there's so much stuff around.
I thought about that the other day. I was like, Pulp Fiction didn't age that well with a $5 milkshake joke.
I know everyone like anyone that watches it now say, why is he upset at the $5 milkshake? I mean, you get what you pay for?
Well, especially at a restaurant that everybody had like these really good impersonators. Like, I would pay $5 for a milkshake there.
Yeah, yeah, $5 milkshake is not bad at all. That cheapskate John Travolta.
Yeah. Okay, so before we do our dismemberment, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Tim, are you feeling okay? Since when do we take commercial breaks?
Oh, yeah, Brian, I'm sorry. I totally forgot to tell you that we actually were sent an advertisement along with a check.
What? Are you messing with me? Who in the name of Kurt Russell's sack would pay us to advertise on our show?
I was just so excited, I completely forgot to check.
Well, I mean, I guess since they paid us, we'll have to play it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I figured, how bad could it be? All right, here we go. Hey everyone, it's that time of year and Killtale Records proudly presents a horror holiday. Yes, for the first time ever, some of your favorite horror characters come together to sing your favorite holiday Christmas songs. You'll hear such classics as I Saw Mother Kissing Santa Claus, performed by Norman Bates. I saw Mother kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe last night. She didn't see me creep up to the house to have a peep. She thought that I was tucked up in the office fast asleep. I need a cheese sandwich. Baby, It's Cold Outside, performed by Freddy Krueger and Nancy Thompson.
I really can't stay.
But baby, it's warm down here.
I've got to away.
But baby, it's warm down here.
This nightmare has been
been hoping you'd drop in.
Not very nice.
Just hold my hands, they're just like knives.
Silver Bells, performed by Pinhead. Silver pins. Silver pins. It's Christmas time in hell. Ring-a-ding. Hear them scream. Soon it will be Judgment Day. Jesus Wept, that's a classic. And of course you'll love sitting by the fire and listening to The Little Drummer Boy, performed by the Man from Another Place.
They told me, ba-rum-pa-bum-bum. A newborn king, you know, ba-rum-pa-bum-bum.
I'll Be Home for Christmas, performed by Michael Myers with guest vocals by Dr. Loomis.
Michael, you need to speak. It's a song after all. Michael, please, you need to know how songs work. Michael! Michael! No!
And of course, Sleigh Ride, performed by Seth Brundle.
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling. They're ring-ting-tingling, too. We're bundled up together. Like birds in a plasma pool.
And don't miss these wonderful renditions of Up on a Housetop, performed by John Kramer.
Up on the housetop, reindeers pause as they're caught by old Jigsaw. Down through the chimney with lots of traps, all for the cretins, full of crap.
Jingle Bells by Jack Torrance.
Jingle bells, I just killed the cook. Oh, what fun it is to ride, stranded at the Overlook. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle, 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 windy jingle, jingle, jingle bells.
And finally, nobody can resist this #1 holiday hit.
Dreaming of a fright Christmas. With every Christmas card I write, may your days be scary and fright, and may all your Christmases be fright. I really need to work on some new puns.
Yes, you get all those classics and more. So order now for only $9.99 plus shipping and handling at 1-888-KTLX-MUS. That's 1-888-KTLXMAS. Available in CD, cassette, and 8-track. Don't wait and order today. Okay, wow. That was crazy.
Yeah, we may need to probably screen these next time before we just go ahead and play that.
Yeah, sorry guys. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like we don't have like sponsors beating down our door. You know, you kind of have to take what you can get. But
yes, I just I hope we get some warning this time because now I'm out $20.
oh, why'd you buy 2?
Not sure yet. Maybe. Well, I needed 1, and well, let's move on. Maybe we'll
I think you liked it, Brian. I think you were jamming to that.
Well, you know what it was? It was that, you know me, when they they threw in something else, which I don't want to, they threw in a sticker, and and I was like those those bonus things. I'm a sucker for it. I don't know what I'm going to do with my Kill Tell sticker, but I guess.
All right. We'll move on. All right, guys, this is our dismemberment.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't cut off my...
Okay, guys, so we had to do something a little different for this dismemberment, and that's because we literally had no horror Blu-ray releases for the for Christmas Day. Because
what a sad state of affairs, you know?
Well, DVD releases generally come out on a Tuesday, but with this being a holiday, you're not getting... I mean, I'm sure it's that way with a lot of different things, even albums and stuff that come traditionally release on Tuesday are probably skewed next week.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. There's probably not. Yeah, probably everything is kind of off for a week.
Yeah, because they get the retailers get the shipment in over the weekend, and they put it out. It's usually by Tuesday is when they can get it out on the shelf, and so there's a whole thing around that. So I'm sure everybody kind of got pushed off a day or two. So what we decided to do instead was, since we're going to be out for the next 3 weeks, we're just going to give you the dismemberment for the next 3 weeks so you're not missing anything. Now, to keep this reasonable length, I did remove some of the reissues that didn't really add anything. They were just kind of re-releases for the holidays and for post-holiday season. So I'm not gonna rehash anything that was just like a reissue, which I don't normally do anyway, but I just wanted to give that disclaimer. So first up, let's start off with our TV series that are releasing, and then we'll kind of go week by week. So we do have a couple of TV series that are coming out. Castle Rock, complete first season. Did you watch all of that, Brian?
I hadn't watched it yet at all, actually, because remember, I just got Hulu, so I'm still just trying to, kind of get into the Hulu lists and stuff. I've been making my, my watch lists on there, and so I have not get to watch it yet, but I may be like... just, when I'm in California, I may have some time to sit there. I may just watch it.
Yeah, Olivia and I watched it, and I liked it. It's not what I expected from a Stephen King series back when it was first announced. I don't really find it particularly scary, but it's entertaining from a kind of mystery thriller perspective. And if you're a Stephen King fan and can catch some of the Easter eggs they hid in there, it's kind of entertaining. I'm hoping for a better second season.
I mean, was there potential for that? Like, did you see it, like, where it could go?
Definite potential, yes. Definite potential. So I'm definitely looking forward to season 2. First season, I can't say that it blew me away, but I did enjoy it, and it was worth watching. So,
okay.
And then next up, one that we talked about recently that you finished, Brian, which was The Purge season 1. That's getting a Blu-ray release.
Yeah, that one's cool. See, it's funny because like the Castle Rock one, since it's still on Hulu, I wouldn't rush out to get that. But The Purge, I actually did like that series. I may just want to eventually get it, to go with the rest of my Purge movies, the collection. So that was good though. That was a fun series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as soon as I can get my hands on it. So here are we only had one release for January 2nd, and it's a movie that I'm going to make you guess the synopsis, Brian.
Okay.
But it's called Silent Scream. It's from 1979. It's released by Scorpion Releasing, directed by Denny Harris, starring Rebecca Balding, Cameron Mitchell, and Avery Schreiber. So what do you think Silent Scream from 1979 is about?
All right, I'm going to go now. I know this is kind of like mimicking some other movies, but you know how like The Quiet Place, it has where you can't make a sound, and that new Sandra Bullock one that's coming out where you can't see the creature. So I could go along that lines of kind of a similar movie to that. What was the one where the blind woman is in the house alone? So I'm thinking there's a mute woman and she's being stalked by somebody. And she can't speak, so she has to find a way to get help without her voice.
Okay, that was a reasonable guess. It was wrong. It was dead wrong, but it was a reasonable guess. I could tell
by your lack of enthusiasm to tell me I was right. So.
But it is, during her first semester at college, a co-ed finds housing at a seaside mansion where, following the death of a fellow student, she becomes entangled in a murder mystery surrounding the property and its secretive tenants.
So I was not even close.
And the tagline is, "Terror so sudden there is no time to scream."
But that's very misleading. Yeah. That's not silent. That's implying there is an attempt at a scream. But then the tagline contradicts it by saying you have no time to scream.
So yeah, I don't know. That sounds kind of intriguing, though.
It is, but now I don't like this movie just because of its...
Well, it does have some really good features. It's got a 2K remaster struck from the original interpositive because it's no longer 2K remaster is not good enough anymore.
Yeah, what's this interpositive business? I know.
New audio interview with star Barbara Steele. That's pretty cool. An older audio commentary with writers Ken and Jim Wheat and star Rebecca Balding. An audio interview with director Denny Harris. Scream of success 30 years later. Silent Scream.
But there is no Scream. What the heck are they doing to us?
You're right, yeah.
I tell you.
Silent Scream, the original script. The Wheat Brothers. A look back. Yeah, they've had a storied career. You know, they invented, what, wheat thins?
Yeah, the wheat bran, you know, all that.
Wheat bread?
Wheat checks. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be...
They got a lot of claim to fame.
Very famous duo.
Not to mention the beers that are the wheat ales, you know.
That's right. The interview with Rebecca Balding. I'm refraining from making a joke about hair loss here.
I know.
Really
I was
trying.
like, so
I've mentioned her
tempted.
name like 5 times.
I know, and I was like, I was almost like biting my lip because it is almost too easy to kind of make a joke about it. And so I think I like to keep our listeners to our toes. So I say we pass on.
That's right. We're gonna pass. A TV spot and theatrical trailer. I still refuse to list audio as a feature when it's normal audio. Like, unless it's something crazy. I'm not going to tell you it's 5.1 surround and 2.0 stereo.
I mean, yeah, back in the day when surround sound, home surround sound systems were coming out and you saw that 5.1, that was a thing. But now, like, when you get 7.1 and all these other, like, types of audio bonuses, it's like 5.1 that's the norm now.
Yeah, I mean,
why is that a thing?
There's audio files that will say, yes, but in 1979 there was no 5.1 surround sound, so they only had to record in 2.0 stereo, so they had to do a remix 5.1 surround sound for this particular edition, and blah, 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 blah. So I mean, I know that the 5.1 surround is a new mix, and technically that should be a feature because they took time to do it, but
yeah, but what's 5.1 if someone about to scream and going and I'm making a silent face that you can't see because once again I'm holding them to their little tagline that there's this so scary they have no time to scream or whatever that is. So I don't know. I'm against this movie right from the start. I'm sorry. I know Denny Harris has worked hard on it and Rebecca Balding has been, you know, God knows what she's done to get this movie released, but I don't know. I can't support it now.
All right, so let's move on to January 8th.
Okay.
Speaking of mute women, Blind Date, 1984. Another release by Scorpion Releasing. They got a thing for silence and blindness this week.
Yeah, I've actually seen this movie years ago.
Well, that's why I was going to do this one as your synopsis, and I figured there's an off chance Brian has seen this one.
Yeah, because Kirstie Alley.
Yeah, directed by Nico Mastorakis, starring Joseph Bottoms, Kirstie Alley, and James Dalton. A man goes blind when remembering his lost girlfriend. Jeez, she must have been a
what
looker.
is he doing? or what was he doing to make himself go blind? I'd like to know the answer to that one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's start over. A man goes blind when remembering his lost girlfriend, but that's such a weighted sentence. But the doctors can't find anything wrong with his eyes. They fit him with an experimental device which allows him to see with the aid of a computer interface and brain electrodes. Meanwhile, a taxi driver is taking young women up to their apartments, giving them gas. What's he, like, cooking them broccoli or something?
Feeding him Taco Bell? I don't know what.
And performing a little fatal amateur surgery on them.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little fatal amateur surgery. It's not a lot of fatal amateur surgery, which would kill you right off the bat. This one is...
You're just a little dead. I'm not dead yet.
It's a Mustafa, right, from Austin Powers. I'm still alive. I'm very badly hurt, but I'm alive. Yeah.
Their paths inevitably converge, and the blind man must try to stop the psychopath. So, this has a brand new 4K remaster of the director's cut of the film, supervised by Nico Mastorakis. A featurette. The films of Nico Mastorakis, music videos, original trailers, a still gallery, and a theatrical cut of the film in standard definition, because who would want to watch the 4K director's cut when you could watch the standard definition theatrical cut?
Right, I know, and you could get to see how the poor girls eat Taco Bell while driving around in a taxi. I know.
All right, next up, one Brian you've seen, I have not. Hellfest 2018, released by Lionsgate, directed by Gregory Plotkin. He sounds like a great writer.
It does. Like the Plotkin thickens, you know.
I don't know why I'm finding that so funny. It sounds like a Hobbit name,
It does. Like, oh, here he is. It's Plotkin here with the tales of the Shire.
I'm not an underfoot. I'm a Plotkin. All right. Whatever. Hobbit's now Irish. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I don't know. We kind of changed the whole game there with that one.
Starring Amy Forsyth.
That's 2 weeks in a row we get an Amy Forsyth mention.
Rain Edwards and Bex Taylor Claus.
Well, that's very Christmassy, so I guess that
I figured
that makes sense.
Taylor Claus is probably Taylor Swift's personal Santa.
Right, yes, of course.
She's rich enough to
God
afford
knows
her own.
Yeah, she can't have her just the run-of-the-mill Santa Claus. She needs to, And you know what's going to happen if he gives her a bad Christmas gift. She's going to write a song about him next year.
That's right. A masked serial killer. That's original. Turns a horror-themed amusement park. That's original. I'm picking on this film. I haven't seen it. Brian said it was good. A masked serial killer turns a horror-themed amusement park into his own personal playground, terrorizing a group of friends while the rest of the patrons believe that it is all part of the show.
Well, I mean, I said it was when I said good, it was good because it was enjoyable. But the plot has been overdone, and I think if there wasn't enough Tony Todd, the little Tony Todd we got was what part of it what saved it. And actually, Amy Forsyth is pretty good. But again, I think you and I, and probably most of our Slack buddies, they would get it. They would enjoy it more because of that themed haunt attraction element to it. I think the average horror fan might find it just I've seen this before. This is nothing special. Although Tony Todd does, like I did say, if you're a fan of Tony Todd, you love the bit he's in, but he's not in it enough.
Oh, okay. Well, this does have a featurette called Thrills and Kills Making Hellfest and a theatrical trailer. So not very much on the features there.
Yeah, what the heck?
Next up.
Come on, Plotkin. Come on,
Plotkin. Get the plot together. All the Creatures Were Stirring. We just talked about this. 2018, released by RLJ Entertainment, directed by David and Rebecca McKendry, starring Constance Wu, Jonathan Kite, and Jocelyn Donahue. When an awkward date on Christmas Eve leads a couple into a strange theater, they're treated to a bizarre and frightening collection of Christmas stories featuring a wide ensemble of characters doing their best to avoid the horrors of the holidays. From boring office parties and last-minute shopping to vengeful stalkers and immortal demons, there's plenty out there to fear this holiday season.
And see, that's what's cool, because the names of the segments are part of that song. So it's one's Dash Away All is one of the segments it's called.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's why all the creatures are, there really is they really stick with the Christmas thing. And I figured you would like it, and Kevin would probably like it because of that whole theater wraparound tale in the beginning. So it's just, and it's super that's actually some of the coolest sequences is, believe it or not, in the theater, because it's super creepy kind of stuff going on. So it's I mean, I don't I was surprised to see some negative reviews about it, because to me it was just I really enjoyed it. So I don't know. This is definitely one I'm going to buy. I mean, I guess if there's a pick of the week in this one, that'll probably because Halloween's the week after. So yes, that would probably be my pick of the week, actually. Even though you can get it right now for free on Shudder.
Yeah. I don't really have a pick of the week for this week, but I do for the next one.
But good because of Rebecca McKendry, and she just did a good job on her podcast and this movie. That's why she earns the pick of the week.
Oh, nice. Yes. Great. So. All right. So now our final week of releases is for January 15th. And the first one up's a big one, of course, Halloween 2018, Universal Studios, directed by David Gordon Green, starring, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and Andy Matichak. I get her name wrong every time.
I think Matichak is the way to go. I mean, I don't see other ways it could be, really.
Matichak.
I mean, Matichak. I mean, it's more the emphasis on the syllable is where we change it, I think.
So Laurie Strode confronts her longtime foe, Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since she narrowly escaped his killing spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago. Now, I was pleased with this disc that, even though it's a new release, we have a decent amount of features on this one.
Yeah.
So we have 7 deleted scenes, or extended scenes. That includes the extended shooting range, a shower mask visit, which was in the novel.
Yeah.
Jog to a
And I saw that scene in the theater. Remember, my preview had that
that's
scene
right. That's right. So, that's cool.
I had that in there, yeah.
Jog to a hanging dog, Allison and friends at school, Cameron and
That's in the book, too, actually, the jog to the hanging dog.
Yeah.
Remember, that's in the book.
Yeah, you're right.
So, okay, interesting.
Cameron and cops don't mix. That's in the book. Deluxe.
This is my favorite name.
Deluxe Bond Me Cops and Sartain and Hawkins Ride Along. I would guess most of these are in the novel, actually.
Yeah, well, Deluxe Bond Me Cops, that part's, remember, it's in the movie. It's just probably cut short.
Yeah. So here's some of the featurettes. Back in Haddonfield Making Halloween, the original Scream Queen, The Sound of Fear, Journey of the Mask, and The Legacy of Halloween. Now, of course, these might be like little 5 or 6 minute features, but
still, they sound like great,
yeah,
great features. Well, I don't know. I bet you that Making Halloween is probably about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I would say.
So.
And the original Scream Queen, I mean, even if that's 5 minutes, though, I mean, just anything on Jamie Lee Curtis, who deserves nothing but the utmost respect as an actor in the industry, and that's just horror, but just in the industry. So it's like any little thing she could get is welcomed, you know? I mean, I would love for it to be like an hour-long documentary, but even if it's 10 minutes, it's a good 10 minutes, I'm sure. Yeah.
Next up is a kind of my pick of the week other than Halloween, because it's just such a packed disc. Now,
was this the one Tom based his movie on?
Yes, his Ride thing. Yeah.
His Ride. Yeah. I'm sorry, his Ride, yeah.
This is Crimson Peak from 2015, but it's getting a really nice deluxe edition by Arrow. Now, I looked this up. This disc was originally slated to release in November, and I believe it got delayed because I went out and looked on Amazon. It's still showing the 15th as the proper release date. So I don't.
And so this is an improvement of the one that's out already, because I have one already.
It's got a lot of features. I don't know what the one that's out has, but this Arrow release is pretty packed.
Oh yeah, look at this. Yeah, I don't think mine has any of this. Yeah.
Directed by Guillermo del Toro. So Ken doesn't get on to me for pronouncing the G.
Oh yeah, he'll come after you for that one.
Starring Mia Wasikowska, Jessica Chastain, and Tom Hiddleston. In the aftermath of a family tragedy, an aspiring author is torn between love for her childhood friend and the temptation of a mysterious outsider. Trying to escape the ghost of her past, she is swept away to a house that breathes, bleeds, and remembers.
Yeah, there was a feature on this of this movie in the Eli Roth series. There was a segment on this.
You know what? I think this is one of those movies, and I remember when I watched it the first time, I wasn't really blown away by it. But I think it's one of those movies that will be really more appreciated over time. Do you get that feeling?
Yes, I do. Yeah, because I had seen it, I think, maybe right when I got the original release of it. So I don't remember it as well as I want. But after I saw the Eli Roth segment on it, I was like, I got to go back and watch this.
I think this was one that deserves a second chance for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because Del Toro is one of those directors that I don't think one viewing of his films is enough. I think he's one of those directors you have to go back and see it a couple times at least.
Yeah, because he puts subtle things in there that you don't catch always.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So let me go through this feature list because this is amazing. There is a audio commentary by co-writer and director Guillermo del Toro. The House is Alive, Constructing Crimson Peak, a newly edited feature-length documentary.
Wow.
With cast and crew interviews and extensive behind-the-scenes footage. A previously unseen Spanish-language interview with Del Toro. The Gothic Corridor, The Scullery, The Red Clay Mines, The Limbo Fog Set. 4 featurettes exploring different aspects of Allerdale Hall.
By the way, I know no one other than our group is going to get this, but when I see The Scullery, I could just picture EB going, The Scullery!
Yeah, The Scullery! A primer on Gothic romance. The director and stars talk about the key traits of Gothic romance. The light and dark of Crimson Peak. The cast and crew talk about the film's use of color. Hand-tailored Gothic, a featurette on the film's striking costumes. A Living Thing, a look at the design, modeling, and construction of the Allerdale Hall sets. Beware of Crimson Peak, a walking tour around Allerdale Hall with Tom Hiddleston. Crimson Phantoms, a featurette on the film's amazing ghost. Kim Newman on Crimson Peak and the tradition of Gothic romance, a newly filmed interview with author and critic. Violence and Beauty in Del Toro's Gothic fairy tale films, a new video essay by the writer Kat Ellinger. Deleted scenes, original trailers, TV spots, a double-sided fold-out poster, 6 double-sided postcard-sized lobby card reproductions, limited edition packaging, newly designed by Crimson Peak concept artist Guy Davis, and a limited edition 80-page hardbound book featuring new writing by David Jenkins and Simon Abrams, an archival interview with Del Toro, and original conceptual design illustrations by artists Guy Davis and Oscar Ciccione.
Right.
So, I mean...
when you said hardbound book, I could just think of Ron Burgundy, like, I have many leatherbound books.
I mean, this one is on Amazon right now for, I think, $35. But, man, that's a packed disc. I kind of want
Is it coming in like a box, like one of the big boxes, like the Willy Wonka did with that big book in there or something?
I don't know. It looks really cool, though. I may have to get this one.
I may have to double dip now, because I feel like mine is so subpar now. I don't even want it anymore.
You got like a Crimson Hill. It's not even a peak anymore.
I got like a Crimson Pick or something. I think I need to like send it off to with my my canceled order of Silent Scream, so I could go there.
All right, this next one is intriguing, Brian. This is Saturday the 14th.
Oh, you never saw this?
I saw this literally.
Yeah, because
when it came out.
have it on DVD.
I need to see it. This is why. So there's these movies that you see as a kid that you vaguely remember, and you don't even remember if they were a dream or not.
I know exactly what you mean.
You catch images of them. I was that way with Phantasm for the longest time. I was like, there's this movie with these flying balls, but I think maybe I just dreamed it. And there was another one, Christmas Story. Christmas Story, I remember seeing it.
Really?
Yeah, I remember seeing it as a kid and remembering vaguely the "you'll shoot your eye out, kid" part with the Santa Claus, and like that was stuck in my mind. But I didn't know what the movie was. I didn't know where it came from or anything. It's years later I found
the
Christmas
amount
Story.
of times I've watched that movie. I can't even comprehend that there's a world somewhere where they weren't sure of it.
Yeah, me either now, because I watch it every year multiple times usually.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is not recent.
No. This was like when I was a kid. I used to like think about that. I could not figure out where it came from. But
okay, gotcha.
This is the same way with this movie. If I saw this movie, it was in the theater in 1981. I was 7 years old. I don't remember anything about it but these little brief flashes. And I really need to see this again because it's literally been 30-some odd years since I've seen this.
Yeah. This is a Steve Cohn classic, by the way.
Oh, really?
And do you want to know something sad? Not only do I own this on DVD, I own Saturday the 14th Strikes Back, which was the sequel to this.
I didn't know there was a sequel. Wow.
Which I vaguely remember that one. See, that one's in the dream state that you were just describing. The one I remember, the original one, I just remember that one scene where there was like a head in the refrigerator. And remember, Richard Benjamin and Paul Prentice were married at one point, and they did a couple of movies together. So it was kind of like around that time. So, yeah, and Richard Benjamin, it was kind of funny because Paul Prentice was like really attractive, and Richard Benjamin was kind of like this lanky, like guy that kind of like I could see people confusing with Alan Alda, but and it's like, so it's kind of funny that they were an interesting mix to begin with, but and then of course Jeffrey Tambor's awesome. So, but yeah, the movie I remember I used to watch this movie all the time. I have not watched it in years though, but I will need to double dip on this to get it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Now I don't know if I'll double dip the Strikes Back, but
yeah, they didn't list any special features, so I don't know if it has any. But I either have to rent this or do something. I got to see this movie just to see if I remember anything about it from when I was 7.
At worst case scenario, next time we hang out, I'll bring the regular DVD.
Yeah, that'll work.
At worst case scenario.
All right, this next one sounds really fun. This is called The Plague of the Zombies from 1966, released by Shout Factory, directed by John Gilling, starring Andre Morel, Diane Clare, and Brooke Williams. Young workers are dying because of a mysterious epidemic in a little village in Cornwall. Dr. Thompson is helpless and asks Professor James Forbes for help. The professor and his daughter Sylvia travel to Thompson. Terrible things happen soon, beyond imagination or reality. Dead people are seen near an old, unused mine. Late people seem to live suddenly. Professor Forbes presumes that...
Wait a minute. Like, late people, like, oh my god, it's 8 o'clock and I was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago? Like,
that's me every morning. When I look at the clock and go, oh god, I got 15 minutes to get to work. I live suddenly.
I know. That's what I really am like confused by that statement. I mean, based on being in a horror movie. I mean, I'm sure they mean the other version of that, but I think they need to be clearer on that statement.
Let's see. Professor Forbes presumes that black magic is involved, and someone has extraordinary power. You think so?
I know, you're like, no, that's I feel like the which way did it go? Which way did it go? That's what I picture this guy, like, doing.
I used to have a friend in college that would do that to me. Like, if I ever said something, people today would say, thanks, Captain Obvious, or whatever. If ever I said anything like that, he would go, do you think so?
Oh my god, yeah, and I had someone I worked with, she used to, not to anybody that would say something like that, she would go like if it was to me, she'd be like, "Hi, my name is Brian, and my favorite color is clear." So yeah, there's many of those.
There's many of those people.
Like, yeah,
he does it. Oh my god, my synopsis got cut off. He doesn't know how close he is. The dead become alive because. And then it
shoot,
cuts
is
off.
this my game again? Wait, do I have to pick what happens?
I'm gonna have to go look it up, and you have to pick what happens. Why did the dead become alive?
Because they were told that if they were late for work one more time, they would be fired. I don't know. Wait, Professor Pip's black magic is involved. Doesn't know how close he is. The dead become alive because, oh God, I have no idea. I lost myself in the synopsis already.
Okay, I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
It involves black magic, shockingly.
Oh, he said that. So, okay, so... Oh, wait a minute. So Dr. he's helpless. Oh, wait, no, there was the epidemic. So there was some kind of disease that made them come alive, like a regular zombie.
No, a magic voodoo ritual.
Oh, because that's, of course, mentioned in here. But well, I guess black magic, but still, it's like some... Okay.
Well, generally, before Night of the Living Dead, zombies were voodoo.
Oh, that's true.
So
that is
should
true.
have been a real
You're right.
big clue.
And this was right before it,
yeah.
A couple of years before.
It's just like that I Eat Your Skin one, although that one was post Night of the Living Dead, so I guess that blows my theory. But anyway. This one has some good features, though. It has a... oh!
Look who's back!
Oh! A new audio commentary with filmmaker Konstantin Nazer.
He's back!
Nazer Lips.
Yes.
And author film historian Steve Haberman. I think we've heard him before on here.
Yeah, and look, it's two film historians in this set.
Yeah, new audio commentary with author film historian Troy Howarth. New restored audio. World of Hammer. Oh, this is a Hammer film. World of Hammer. Mummies, Werewolves, and the Living Dead. Raising the Dead, The Making of the Plague of the Zombies, a restoration comparison, theatrical trailers, and a still gallery. This one might be worth picking up. I like this.
Yeah, it like climbed up in my ranks now. I was about to write it off along with the silent scream, but no, now it's got some historians, it's got some exciting stuff on there. Yeah.
Well, you can write the next one off instead. Howling 3, 1987. Yeah. Shout Factory, directed by Philippe Mora, starring Barry Otto, William Yang, and Imogen Ansley. A strange race of human-like marsupials appears suddenly in Australia, and a sociologist who studies these creatures falls in love with a female one. Is this a dangerous combination? What do you think, Brian? Is it a dangerous combination?
I think watching this and living your life is a dangerous combination. Because and you know what stinks? Because the original Howling was so good.
I know. Yeah, and they come out with these
even the second
sequels.
One was not horrible.
That could be a slaycation, though, if you think about it.
You know what? And I did not put that on there. And you're right. And that has our beloved Dee Wallace starting it off.
Yeah.
But of course, it went downhill after that. But
doesn't everything go downhill when Dee Wallace leaves?
Yeah, it pretty much does. So. You're right. But then again, I think there was. I want to say there was one of them, like one of the sequels, wasn't half bad, like in the mix of it, because I think it went up to like 6.
Yeah, there was a bunch of them.
There was one in there that wasn't as bad, but I remember like 1 was awesome. I used to watch it all the time. 2 was okay, because at least it kind of had it was a direct sequel. But I think then when they started doing like just throwing it out there with the Howling name is when it kind of got like.
And this one's even listed as a horror comedy in IMDb, so that tells you right there.
Yeah, and the first one was definitely not, and neither was really the second. Oh, the second one, I love the subtitle, like Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf.
Yeah.
That's got a great subtitle. But yeah, no, Howling 3, I don't remember enjoying it all. And but like I said, there's one in there later on that wasn't as bad as the other sequels. But
this one has some special features: a brand new remaster of the film sponsored by the National Film and Sound Archive of Australia. A new audio commentary with writer-director Philippe Mora, moderated by filmmaker Jamie Blanks. a new conversation with Philippe Mora, an interview with the writer-director, vintage interviews from the documentary Not Quite Hollywood, the wild untold story of Ozploitation by director Mark Hartley, and a theatrical trailer.
Ozploitation? That sounds like something like from the play Wicked. They threw in there.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Well, yeah, they call Australia Oz, the land down under. I was going to do an Australian accent, but I can't do that right now.
That's okay. We've done enough today.
We've done enough damage without me breaking out an Australian accent. Although Kevin does a really good impersonation of an Australian yoga instructor that has to be heard to be believed.
We need to somehow work that character into a future episode.
He comes up with these
we
crazy
need just
characters.
more Kevin, period.
Yeah.
He's been on one episode in 2 years, and that is just that's just criminal.
Yeah.
He needs to be on like all the time.
And Amanda, of course. We gotta get her on.
Yes, yeah. We need to get a lot of these people on.
Next up, Jack the Ripper from 1959, released by Severin Films, directed by Robert S. Baker and Monty Berman, starring Lee Patterson. I want to do these.
Let's make a deal with Monty Berman.
Literally everything before 1960 I should do in the old-timey voice.
Yeah, I think that should be a new rule.
Starring Lee Patterson, Eddie Byrne, and Betty McDowell. A serial killer is murdering women in the Whitechapel district of London. An American policeman is brought in to help Scotland Yard solve the case.
Not for nothing, but Scotland Yard is like legendary. What could we actually offer by sending one of our guys over?
No, really. It's still cool to me. Like Scotland Yard, when I hear, Scotland Yard investigation, I'm like, ooh, Scotland Yard?
Yeah,
really?
like, don't you, like, even if, like, they're just saying they're, like, handing out flyers or something, I'd be excited.
Yeah, like, there's this, I listened to the Real Crime, I think it's called Real Crime Podcast. It's a true crime podcast, and it's got a FBI guy on there, and it's got this woman that used to work for Scotland Yard, and I just thought that was, like, super impressive.
Yeah.
Like, even more impressive than the FBI guy. I'm like, hey, back off. She's from Scotland Yard.
I know. You're just an FBI guy.
Yeah.
We want Scotland
They're a
Yard
dime a dozen, but
news.
Scotland Yard, that's awesome.
I know.
She worked directly with Sherlock Holmes, probably.
I know. That's like great street cred there in the FBI, like the discovery business, you know?
This has a new 2K remaster of the US version of the film. A British version sourced from a telescene master. What's telescene? What is that? It sounds like a British thing.
I don't know. Where's Matt from Yorkshire? We need to ask him.
I make fun of British things all the time because I love British stuff so much. I absolutely adore British stuff.
Me too. There's actually a store in California I used to go to. It was just like a little store that sold nothing but like British import stuff. It was the coolest thing
I want to
ever.
go over there so bad. I really.
So should we have like Civil Gore over the pond?
We do. I mean, I want to go to England so bad. Like I like their shows. I like their comedies. I like their television. I like everything about it.
It stinks. I was literally I was in London, and it was only to go through to get my flight to Ireland. Like I was like a layover for like an hour. I literally had enough time to walk to plane. I need to go back there.
Yeah. An audio commentary with co-director, co-producer, co-cinematographer. He's just co-everything. Robert S. Baker. Oh wait, okay, never mind. I read that wrong. Robert S. Baker is the co-director. Screenwriter Jimmy Sangster is I don't know, maybe he is all of those.
No, he's co-director, co-producer, co-cinematographer, Robert S. Baker. He just couldn't decide what he wanted to do, so he did half of everything.
Yeah, or a third. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Screenwriter Jimmy Sangster, assistant director Peter Manley, moderated by British horror historian Marcus Hearn.
That guy's probably like the best thing ever.
British horror historian? That's the best job ever. That sounds amazing.
That trumps every single other film historian we've ever mentioned.
Look at this Marcus Hearn.
Special feature.
He's got to be the coolest dude on the planet.
You want me to blow your mind right now? Imagine he used to work at Scotland Yard and then he came over to be just a British horror historian.
Oh, can you adopt me?
I know, we need to somehow get him on the show.
Alternate extended continental takes, whatever that is.
What is that?
An interview with Dennis Meikle, author of Jack the Ripper, The Murders in the Movies. Gentleman Jack, The Whitechapel Murders Revisited featurette, theatrical trailer, poster, and still gallery. I'm actually reading a book now, Brian. We're listening to it on Audible, and it's called Everybody Loves Jack, I think. The book, but it is about this guy that has done a lot of research and basically is positing that Jack the Ripper didn't exist.
I've heard that thought process before.
It was
it's not the
basically a string of unrelated murders, basically, and the whole Jack the Ripper myth was just kind of a made-up thing. So I've also heard that about the Zodiac Killer,
Yeah, I've heard that too. What was that movie that was like in the 80s with David Warner where they chased Jack the Ripper through time or something?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it.
Was it Time After Time? Was that the one?
It sounds
I don't remember. It was
like that, yeah.
Yeah, but that was like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, and I can't remember the damn name of it. But yeah, I loved that movie.
I believe that was based off a
story
story because I think I read the story first.
Yeah, it was. I think yeah.
And last up, I've got to get my hands on this because I don't own enough copies. This is
they're only in every set we own, so yeah.
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, 1948, Universal Studios, directed by Charles Barton, starring Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, and Lon Chaney Jr. And like Brian said, this has been in literally every Universal monster set.
And I got to tell you, I got a little beef with them. How dare they release this singly when Tim and I can't get our hands on the Creature set because of the defective disc? Shouldn't they have made that a priority to release that first?
I don't know, and I'm really irritated about that too. Like, my set is incomplete. It's got a gaping hole. I've got everything, even the Invisible Man, for Christ's sake, and I can't get the Creature. My favorite one. Because they screwed up the disc and they just won't re-release them. I'm like, what are you doing?
That should have been I mean, yes, they're replacing the disc, but what about the people that didn't buy it?
I know. I just want to buy
away?
it. Just buy it. Just put it out and let me buy it. Two hapless freight handlers find themselves encountering Dracula, the Frankenstein monster, and the Wolfman. If you want the synopsis after my rant.
Yeah.
I'm still a little irritated about that whole thing. But
I agree with you. I don't blame you.
All right, so it's time to discuss Red Christmas from 2016. This is one I discovered maybe actually recently, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was because
last year it hit Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, because I remember it just seems like the time just flies by when you're having fun. But it was a recent, I guess last year was when I first saw it. It wasn't in 2016. And I was really blown away by it. If you go look at the critical reviews, it's not like great. It didn't get like the critical reception, but I just find this movie fascinating. It's such a weird movie, and because it takes place in Australia and the plot line is so bizarre, it doesn't follow the format of any kind of Christmas horror movie that you've ever seen before.
No, and in fact, Christmas almost, it's like it almost, if you could take that, you could take it out of that, and it would probably be okay still. It could have been any family gathering.
Right, yeah.
For this film. The Christmas aspect of it is really not needed in a way, if you think about it.
Well, it was a reason to get a bunch of disconnected family members together.
Right.
But
it could have been Thanksgiving.
It could have been
Thanksgiving. I guess Australia, they don't have, I guess that's why. But I mean, it could have been any kind of, they could have worked in any other kind of greeting. Could have been a regular family reunion. It could have been a birthday, like a 50th birthday for somebody. It could have been something. But I think the fact that it is Christmas, though, kind of, I think maybe they they use that maybe to kind of explain the reason why, they let I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but why they let Cletus in, I guess, in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The film opens with a weird sequence. I had totally forgotten about this when I rewatched it. A weird sequence of anti-abortion protesters and these weird shots. And you're going, what in the world does this have to do with a Christmas movie?
Or red,
or anything.
Other than blood.
And there's a sequence. There's an explosion. You see a man grab a baby, and you're going, what the heck is this? And all of a sudden, it's like Red Christmas on the screen. It has a really retro feel to the title.
Yeah, almost like Grindhouse or something.
Yeah, almost kind of Grindhousey, or like Black Christmas or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what we get is a family reunion, not a family reunion, a family gathering for Christmas. And these family members are very, what is the word I'm looking for? Dysfunctional?
Dysfunctional, yeah. I was going to... But it's funny, up until that point, like the way it's funny, like, I mean, when they first get together, you start seeing like little shades of it, but it could just be, family.
Family bickering.
But it's like tell me that does not seem like, before it starts getting a little crazy there, does that seem like the exact way you'd think Dee Wallace would host a Christmas? Like, so all magical.
Oh, yeah,
with, like,
for sure.
With, like, things are timed and eggnog is coming and there's, like, pastries and, you know, just like a warm holiday feel to it. Like, I was like, you know, this would be how Dee Wallace would celebrate Christmas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can't even begin to remember all the character names in this, so forgive me. I'm not even going to try, Brian, to remember.
Yeah, I don't either. I just remember Cletus.
I remember Jerry
because they say it 100 times. And Jerry, yes.
Yeah. So, but suffice it to say, there you got Dee Wallace, the mom, her son Jerry, who has Down syndrome and is played by a very good actor with Down syndrome, whose name is Gerard and Ottmeyer, I think.
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
I'll double check that.
Yeah, he's really good.
Really, really good.
You know,
Oddwire.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
because,
Gerard Oddwire. Or O'Dwyer.
Yeah, I had trouble pronouncing his name. It's a tricky spelling, so. But yeah, no, he's really good in it. And you know, and I was gonna say we can't remember the characters, but we can always just call like the priest, like the brother does. He goes, "Hey, Padre."
Padre.
You know?
That's how I knew him as Padre.
You ever notice that? It's like the most current thing. There's always like some kind of like cool, like relaxed, like hippie kind of guy that likes to call a priest Padre.
Yeah,
in those movies, it makes me laugh.
Yeah,
because
he's like the it's like kind of like the drunk uncle type.
He is. He's like the drunk uncle, but like in this, he's stoned uncle.
Yeah, stoned uncle, I guess. Yeah, you got Padre and his wife. I think it's his wife or fiance or something.
No, they're married because remember they're trying to conceive.
Right, that's right. They're trying to conceive. There's a girl that's pregnant, and her hubby.
Yeah.
And I couldn't quite catch because they don't really. I mean, I guess there are points in there where you try to tie all these people together, but long and short of it is it's a big family
right.
that doesn't get along. The sisters and stuff don't get along particularly well. The stone knuckle doesn't get along with anybody.
We should say that. I mean, not that it matters, but I believe there was only one of them was fostered, right, or adopted. I think or two of the sisters.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the only reason I say that is because it shows the good nature. Because it does set up Dee Wallace's character as a really, you know, good person.
Right.
You know, and she's accused later on of not being so good, but it's really not, you know, you almost can't blame her. Not blame, you know what I'm saying? It's like she's
tried to make amends. She's tried to make amends.
Right. She's trying to make amends. So you can't like, you never at any point dislike her.
Right. Which is a tricky balance for this film. It really is a tricky balance.
Because, you know, you want to be like, well, you know, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I guess that time period, she, you know, and she obviously proves that that's not really what she said was true. She was young and she couldn't, but I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves without really explaining what happened.
But anyway, so they're gathered here for Christmas. They're about to open up presents and they get a ring at the doorbell. And, before this, I guess, again, I've jumped ahead a little bit, but before this, we've seen this weird black cloaked figure.
Yeah.
Approach a man, and this guy basically just like completely dismisses this cloaked figure, talks bad about him, actually pees on him at one point.
I know, he pees on poor
and we find out this guy's name is Cletus anyway, but the hooded figure. Very creepy costume. I mean, imagine like the Grim Reaper in like rags, and you can't see his face is bandaged like a mummy. And very, very creepy.
And he's kind of like limping a little.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Elephant Man. If you ever seen the Elephant Man movie?
Oh yeah.
Which it's not a horror movie. I'd almost like to cover it one time because that is
it's David Lynch it's a masterpiece.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time by far. I still own the soundtrack. It's just a phenomenal movie, but you can't get it on Blu-ray right now. It's only a region 2, I think.
Yeah, I have it on DVD still, but I don't have it. Yeah, I do not have the Blu-ray yet.
But anyway, yeah, very, very reminiscent of Elephant Man, even in the way he talks and things. But
yeah.
So anyway, so this hooded figure, Cletus, which we find out, kills this man, and then he shows up at Dee Wallace's doorstep.
But he really deserved it, that guy. That
Yeah.
guy had it coming to him.
So
Pete on
Dee Wallace, of course, she opens the door to this weird cloaked figure, and there's some small talk exchanged. And Dee, out of the goodness of her heart, she invites this thing in. I say thing because it really is super, super creepy.
Right, and it's cold out, and and she knows it's Christmas Day, so she wants, she invites. I mean, she basically does. This scene of all of them proves that she has like a heart of gold in this, and she knows any mistakes she's made in her life, and she wants to make amends for every one of them. Basically,
right?
You could just tell because she's so good natured to let this. Like, I mean, he's frightening to look at the way he approaches a door. He's not making much sense. He smells of pee because they comment that later, and he really just just comes out of the blue. And what's even weirder is it's not like they're on like a neighborhood street. They're kind of isolated where they are.
Right. Yeah.
So the fact that you let anybody that just randomly shows up at your door when you're like miles from the nearest house,
much less somebody looking like that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty. That just shows that she sees through everything and just wants to be kind.
So she invites him in, and he has one of the creepiest lines in the whole movie. I have to say is that at some point they ask if they could take his cloak, and they basically ask him why are you wearing that because it's so hot out, and he says it keeps my skin on.
Yeah,
it's just super creepy. Oh my god! But I will let Brian do the impression of what his famous saying is.
Yeah, but I feel bad. Like, I don't mean to mock him. It's just
that's how he talks. That's just how he talks.
Yeah, he does. He kind of talks with like this and he just goes. I like to read my letter now, because he has like this little like British accent. Somehow,
it's so
and,
weird.
Like,
yeah,
and it's creepy. Yeah, and it's almost like. It's childlike and haunting at the same time.
It really
it's like whoever the guy that played Cletus did a bang up job at being
it's
like
just super creepy. I just want to get you that because to get across how creepy this character is.
But at the same time, you actually there's this still at some point there's this little bit of sympathy for him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So he shows up and they start trying to make small talk with him and kind of find out a little bit of background through their dialogue that he doesn't even know what a present is or how to unwrap a present, which kind of shows his upbringing.
Yeah.
And
they give him like a little thing of peanuts because the daughter is like, I guess she's allergic to peanuts.
Yeah, so they give him like a little jar of peanuts as a present. But eventually he does get to read his letter.
Yes, he does.
And in this letter, we find out that he is basically accusing Dee Wallace of trying to abort him as a baby.
Right.
So, and she flips out.
Yeah, this goes from like the Dee Wallace that everyone knows and loves to like, well, that doesn't seem like Dee Wallace.
Right. So he definitely strikes a nerve here, and you get some references earlier about they talk about these darn pro-life protesters and stuff. So you kind of get the feeling of her political views on the subject.
Right.
But this, like, she just completely snaps. The uncle throws him out of the house, And
they throw his peanuts at his head. I feel
so
bad.
They were really mean to him, but he really struck a nerve, and they basically kick him out of the house. All right, well, this sets in motion the chain of events to come, which is basically Cletus taking his revenge on the entire family.
Oh my god, and does he take revenge?
And I can't even begin to remember the order of all these kills, Brian. But
I just remember the youngest daughter, the peanut girl, is the one that gets first.
Yeah, she's the first. And she has such a gruesome death. So she's outside, and Cletus basically takes an axe and splits her right down the middle. This is at this point the film becomes basically I don't want to say a typical slasher. It becomes a slasher in which Cletus is just knocking off people one by one.
Right.
And like I said, I'm not going to try to remember the exact sequence of events because it basically is like just a body count at that point. But I really liked some of the cinematography and stuff they used during these sequences. You get a lot of cool camera angles and camera shots, especially from the victim's point of view. which is
Right.
which I found interesting. I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but when the Padre gets attacked, there's a really good sequence in which he's being dragged through the house, and you
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
you get a camera shot from his point of view as he's being dragged, almost as if you're being dragged with him. And he's reaching and scrambling, trying to grab hold of counters, trying to grab a weapon, and it's done in this green gel light. There's certain sequences of the movie where they do just this harsh, like green lighting or red lighting.
Oh, and his death is vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that effect is, that's actually one of the best effects I've seen for a death like that. Where, I mean, I don't want to give it away, but I kind of have to.
Yeah, you might as well. We got spoilers everywhere now, but.
Yeah, Cletus basically slams his head onto, I guess, a blender, and you hear it go, and you just see the blood like fill up his eyeballs, which is just was so graphic and cool at the same time. I'm like, oh my god, it's like normally, because it's funny, it's like even when the first girl got sliced in half, they did it in a way where you didn't actually see her get sliced in half.
Right, it was, you saw like the
you just saw her
of it, yeah.
Right, and the other guy got killed, and it was like up until that point the gore was like on the fringe of gore. Like it was more like you saw what was happening, but this one was the first, I think, flat out like pure like full budget gore kill in this.
Yeah, so you get a bunch of, I mean, the uncle gets offed. Who else? You have the pregnant lady gets offed after she has her baby.
Right. And then Jerry gets it, but it's more collateral damage.
Yeah, poor Jerry.
Which is like, if you think about how like tragic that is, because basically Jerry, who has I guess he kind of bonds with Cletus a little bit. And finds out that, so he accuses now Dee Wallace of, saying, did you try and abort me? Did you try and abort me? And she tries to explain, no, it was a different scenario. We found out, we were excited, we loved you, kind of thing. And so he storms off, and she's just so distraught. So but at the same time, she's like a true survivor and trying to defend her family. So she's going through the house and inadvertently kills Jerry because he pops out,
right,
and startles her, and like, so she's just like seen before telling him how he would like loved her so much she would never think of aborting him, and then goes ahead and accidentally shoots him to death.
Yeah, and
it's like, and just Dee's like, that's actually a really good performance by her at that spot. She's like just so devastated and distraught as you can't even imagine. But then she just gets into this full like that's it, you're dead, Cletus mode.
Warrior mode.
Like she's like, okay, you now have destroyed my family. I am going to make you pay with every last breath I have.
Well, it's particularly tragic because you get the sense that Cletus and Jerry have a bond, and Cletus is not going to mess with him, and Cletus is probably not going to kill him.
Right, like, because he had the opportunity to, and he gives him his hat or something.
And so you're kind of thinking, and Jerry's a very likable character. He's one of the most likable characters in the entire family up to this point.
And if you think about it, he represents the entire thing of Christmas spirit. You could tell, like, it's his favorite time of the year.
Right, yeah, so
he loves the family. He loves all the different events. He loves that he gets his cream puffs, and and he loves his presents, and he's the one that's totally decked out in a Christmas sweater and like a Christmas hat, and everyone else in the family is just dressed up in like rags. Basically, no one's dressed up for the occasion except Dee Wallace, I guess. Well, and I guess the couple, the Padre and his wife, come in. They're all like like prudish, tight knit people. They were all high strung.
But do you think it was intentional? Because Jerry talks with kind of a British accent, sorta. If you think about it, I don't know if they made that intentional, like their accents kind of similar, or if...
Yeah, I mean, they definitely wanted a correlation,
right?
Because you had both. I mean, there was obviously the similarity. They needed to have that to set up the whole that plot point of Dee Wallace, realize like trying to explain there's a difference, but
yeah, but it just made Jerry's death all the more tragic, I guess, is our point.
Yeah, because he's one character. It's like you actually think maybe he'll come save the day, or because he's so like good and trying to always hold the family together the whole time, and he's pretty heroic at one point. He's trying to trying to defend, protect his sisters, and
we have a really extended final battle between Dee and Cletus, which is really interesting. It ranges from outside, it goes back inside.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. There's a point where I guess we'll go ahead and we've been spoiling it up to this point, so I guess we can just go ahead and give away the ending. But she basically attacks Cletus out near a police car at one point. Things go back in the house. At one point, he reveals himself and a very hideous looking creature underneath. But towards the end, she basically, I think she had an anchor, right? Because they kept showing the anchor on her necklace. And she had like an actual anchor thing on a chain that she's using to battle him with. And she takes and stabs him with it. And I guess her momentum carries her out the window. She ends up accidentally hanging herself.
I didn't know if she accidentally did or like knew that was going to happen.
Maybe, that could be.
Part of me, I've seen it twice now, and I kind of thought the first time was an accident, but then this time I'm like, you know what? What does she have to live for right now?
Maybe that's right.
Well, the baby, but at the same time, it's like her whole family was destroyed right in front of her.
Yeah, and I thought it was,
and she probably took the blame of it, the guilt. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And I found it interesting that they never really showed you what happened to Cletus. I mean, he was stabbed, but we don't really know if he's dead.
No, I mean, and that obviously, of course, it's like an inner horror movie. You want to, you think you might have a something good here. You're going to leave it open enough for a sequel.
Yeah.
So there could be Red Christmas 2, Cletus's Revenge or something. Cletus Strikes Back,
But it's a really weird movie. It's a very interesting movie. I don't know what it is about it that I really like. I think it's mainly the character of Cletus. It's just such an interesting character.
Right.
Unlike any villain I've seen in a horror movie. It's just a very neat take. And I think because I love the Elephant Man so much, that movie, I love the idea of like this sympathetic villain, maybe.
Yeah, because I mean, granted, you don't approve of his methods. And remember, in the beginning, he was saying how his caretaker, which you find out was the bomber of the opening scene, who basically took him in, was basically trying to tell him he needs to take revenge. And he was always saying, no, this is a place from love. He wanted to literally just show up and be accepted into that family, which is why obviously when Jerry showed that compassion, I don't think the thought crossed his mind. He's like, okay, this is what I was wanting. I wanted, and even I think even when Dee Wallace was first going after him, he was like, "Mother, don't kill me," or whatever, and he didn't, he still was like forgiving her. He just wanted to be accepted.
Yeah, you got the feeling even at the the very beginning when he kills that first guy he runs into. It's basically like he's going to give people a chance, but if they reject him, he's going to do what he needs to do to defend himself.
Right, and that's all he knows. But and the whole thing was with his letter. It's like his letter was basically explaining, how he was like, he gave her the benefit of the doubt that she didn't know he was survived. Yeah. He didn't know he survived, and he was like saying like, okay, well, I did. Here I am. Now I'm here for Christmas dinner, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting, bizarre little film, but I loved it. Like we said, Dee Wallace, fantastic performance.
Oh my God! I can't even say it enough how much, and I know Tim feels the same way. How much we love Dee Wallace. She's just, and we've told the stories before, but even as amazing she is in her films, she is just like exactly how you would hope she would be in person and more.
Oh my gosh,
she's just the best.
Yeah,
she is the sweetest, one of the most kindest like celebrities I've ever met at one of these conventions, and it's like, and what she's done for, like, think about it, she's done like, different genres. Obviously we all know her and love her mostly from her horror films, but she's been in a wide amount of movies that we all love and stuff, and just so you can't say enough about her. So I think, in all honesty, the fact that she's in this adds such an element for me personally.
Yeah,
the
for
fact
sure.
that she's in it. And it's like, when I heard Dee Wallace is in a horror movie that takes place on Christmas, I was like, okay, sold.
Yeah,
I don't care what else happens.
I don't care what it's about or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it was so good was a bonus to me. Like, because I would have probably watched it and enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, just think of even movies that, like, you forget she's in, like The Frighteners or something, or, and it just, and all the, obviously, The Howling and Cujo and all these other great movies she's been in. It's like, she's one of those ones. She almost deserves her own retrospective episode towards the future. That's something I'd like to do at some point. Like, maybe feature a particular actor or actress in a retrospective.
That would be fun.
We do this so much like Slaycations, but why not do an episode on just like someone like a Dee Wallace?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about doing it for directors, but even an actor or actress could be cool too.
Yeah. Especially if it's Dee Wallace.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Maybe we'll find out what our birthday month is. Maybe we'll do a Dee Wallace month. And
watch it be December, and then we got to wait a whole year.
but yeah, definitely check it out. Red Christmas. It's on Netflix right now, so you can see it for free on Netflix. So go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Definitely in my annual Christmas rotation now.
Oh yeah, and I think this is one I also want to look up see if there's a Blu-ray. I mean, I'm sure there is, but I definitely want to order this for my collection because eventually it will go off of Netflix, and I don't want to not have it at my disposal when I need it.
One little bit of trivia: the placenta at the end of the movie was real. So if you want to be grossed out, there's a little snippet for you.
Oh, and I did read one more. I didn't put it down, but I did remember it now. The actor that played Jerry, he was the only one that actually ad-libbed a line in the movie. They said there was one ad-libbed line, and a lot of movies you find out later on that this line was so funny and it was ad-libbed, But they said there was one ad-libbed line that was kept in the movie. I don't know which one it was.
I wish they had told what it was. Yeah,
I know they didn't. Shame on you, IMDb, with a little half a fact. But so that was. So that was an interesting fact too, and he was so great. And just overall, it's like while it's on Netflix, there's no excuse. Go watch it before the holiday season. Put it in your rotation because I guarantee you will not be disappointed.
All right, Brian, we got a really good beer pairing this week because it's one of my favorite holiday beers, actually.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, so it's Delirium Christmas, sometimes referred to as Delirium Noel, depending on the packaging, I guess. It's by the Delirium Brewery in Mel, Belgium. And I think Delirium, too, also fits with this movie.
Yeah, and they always have really cool bottles. Yes,
they do. And the little pink elephant they're famous for on there in their logo. So this one, it's 8.5%. They wrote this description a little better, so I'll read it the way they did. They wrote color and sight, and then it's pale blonde, the fine and regular effervescence. Look at that. They used effervescence. Ensure a fine and stable head. And the scent, they say, is a slightly malty, a nice touch of alcohol, and spicy. And the flavor, it says, feels like the sound shot of alcohol is igniting the mouth. In reality, the tongue and palate are warmed. The taste is characterized by its roundness. The aftertaste is strong, long-lasting, and dry bitter. It's not worded great. It's like one of those weird synopses, but then again, it may have been the translation.
Yeah, could have been.
It was like, it translated it on the site, so maybe a little bit more eloquent.
This was actually one of the first, I guess, higher end maybe craft beers that I ever had. This was back when I was first really getting into, getting out of the, getting past the New Belgiums and stuff like that. Or even actually, probably even before that. It was probably when I was getting past the Budweisers.
Yeah.
But it was when I was first kind of getting into these, and the bottle really intrigued me, and I had a friend of mine that said it was really good, so I picked it up one day when we were at a bottle shop. So that kind of got me started on some of like the holiday craft beers. So it's still kind of a sentimental favorite to me.
Yeah, I haven't had it in a while, but I had it years ago, and I remember, it's just always one of those, good, solid ones. You know what the problem is now? It's like, craft beer is so booming, it's like, sometimes it's almost hard to get back to your favorites because there's so many new ones.
Right, because you always want to try something new. Always. It's like, it's so funny because Olivia, I'll go to the store to get beer, and she'll be like, well, why don't you just get that one? You like that one? I'm like, I don't want one I like. I want to try something new. It's like, which that doesn't make much sense. You're spending money on it. Why wouldn't you just get the one you like? But beer people are, we're always searching for the next big thing.
Yeah, like Julie and I do that all the time. We'll go there, we'll buy a bunch of new single cans. We usually split them so we know which ones we like. So if we ever do want to get, multiples, we'll at least know which ones to get. But that's the best way to really try. Like it's like a good bang for your buck because we get to try a lot, For like half the price, essentially.
So last week we introduced a new game, and this week we actually have a name for it. This is our Triple Threat.
Yes, Tim got a good job there putting a name in there. And then there's a Paul, when you're listening now, you need to come up with a good sound effect for us.
So last week we asked you to figure out which fictional character we're referring to, obviously from a horror movie,
Yes.
by our 3 clues. The first clue was, I have appeared in many movies and TV shows as recently as 2018. And the answer to that clue was Ready Player One and the Goldbergs.
Right.
Number 2, I have been the focus of haunted attractions at 2 different theme park chains. Well, he was actually a feature at Six Flags St. Louis in 1988, main character of the event Freddy's Nightmare Haunted House in 1989 and 1990, and then at Universal Halloween Horror Nights several times.
Right.
So 2 different theme park chains there. And then number 3, I'm not always around, but at some point you can count on me to appear, which of course we were referring to Freddy's nursery rhyme that the little jump rope girls sing. So it is, of course, Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
And congratulations to Cody, who got that one really easily.
Yes.
But I told her this week's is going to be a little harder, so a little more obscure, but it's fair.
Yes, it's fair. I see. That's the whole point. We want to make these progressively difficult because we really want you to want to play around with the clues so you really can the answer is kind of right there in front of you, but also hidden in plain sight, so to speak.
So we're asking for another fictional character from a horror movie. And I'll give you the 3 clues. The first clue is, there were 4 films about me, yet the person who played me prefers the number 5. Number 2, I have had several relatives throughout my film series, yet they are all dead. And number 3, I have been to many different locations throughout my films, yet have found death in all of them, even when coming full circle back to my hometown. Who am I?
Yes, so good luck to everybody. You'll have 3 weeks to figure out this one. Take at the end.
So, guys, we want to thank you for sharing another year of episodes with us. It's been a great second year for the podcast. We've learned a lot. We've grown a lot. We hope to continue to grow in the future. We really enjoy and appreciate your feedback. We've had people write us emails and Facebook comments and all that kind of stuff. It really makes us feel really good when you guys tell us how much you're enjoying the show. And just knowing there's people out there listening is always welcome, because Brian and I just kind of shoot this out and hope that somebody downloads it somewhere out there.
Yeah, we're hoping somewhere someone finds it. But yeah, no, and it's thanks to obviously all the people that support us, through our other friends and pod friends, such as of course the Mike and EB at Coaster Radio, the whole crew at there's so many of them now I can't even name them all, from Ride This One and Ride This Two.
Yeah.
Of course Adam and Andrew at Theme Park Families, Kim and Ket at Kim and Ket Stay Alive Maybe, and of course Sarah Gierski at Bitches of Horror, and they've all helped share. We share each other's posts and share each other, and that's just a great thing to that the other podcasts will help each other out, because when one does well, we all do well, in all honesty, and it's just a great thing to make sure we help each other out, especially around the holidays.
Right?
Tim.
Yeah,
don't you agree?
Definitely agree. So guys, I hope you guys have a very happy and safe holiday season, a very happy and safe new year. We will see you back in 2019 with season 3. And I know Drew, the intern over at In the Loop, hates seasons, but we're going to continue the tradition. Season 3 is on the way, and we'll have lots of fun stuff for you next year. So guys, take care, have fun, be kind, love each other, and we'll see you back here in 2019.
Yes, and remember, get your 3D glasses, because the third one is always in 3D. So season 3 will be in the first ever podcast in 3D. Just kidding. But anyway, yes, but have a great and safe holiday season. We can't wait to come back. We got a lot planned for you, so we'll see you then.
Later, guys.